So we heard about the awards from a consulting group we work with that trains teams on project management. And I think awards like this are very important because it brings attention to interesting work and innovations in the field, and having an awards event here hosted in Dubai is a fantastic way to promote innovation in project management in the region. So the project that we won the Innovation Award for is UNICEF Kid Power. It's the world's first wearable for good. That is a UNICEF Kid Power band, and the way it works is that kids wear a band and they get active. It has an accelerometer, pedometer, so it measures their movement, and every few thousand steps they take, they earn a Kid Power point. It's a virtual currency of impact, and every 10 points they earn unlocks funding for a packet of therapeutic food for a malnourished child. So the more kids move, the more they help. And we're basically tapping into a desire that all kids have to feel like they matter, to do something important, and introducing them to service and philanthropy at a young age so they grow up to be good citizens. So the core idea was simple, but scaling it was less simple, and that's where some of the, I'd say, innovation, if you would, came to play in terms of how we scaled this idea into what is now the largest ed tech program for high need schools across the US. It's in 1,600 cities and towns in 49 states. It's also a top performing retail product. It's the #2 selling wearable brand at Target. And we did all this as an internal startup team inside UNICEF USA without Series A funding. So we had to be super lean and agile in everything we did, and really implemented a version of scaled agile, which allowed for fast-moving engineering and software teams to work at the same speed as slower-moving school programming teams. So I think one of the prevailing notions, I think, of this decade is this idea of working in an agile form, of rapid iterations, innovating with the customer, and so on. And one of the dangers is that people start interpreting what that means without actually learning the discipline of Agile. And rule number 1 or rule number 3 of Agile is, don't start customizing the approach until you master it, like any discipline. So I think one of the hurdles is as teams become smaller and more nimble, and project management, if you would, becomes decentralized. It's no longer in one central office somewhere. Teams are working at different speeds. They're managing their own work. They're being autonomous. They also do need to learn this discipline of project management, just like any other discipline, whether it's engineering or marketing. And so there's no shortcuts around it. It's something that you have to take seriously and treat as an actual discipline and domain that you need to master first before you start executing. I guess 2 things. Ideas are cheap, execution is priceless, and that's where project management comes into play. Just start doing it. If you can build a version of it that you can get into the hands of a customer and get real feedback, then you have a real idea. If it's just a piece of paper and a napkin and a drawing, it's not worth anything yet. I think it's a great way to manage your risks and to make sure that you don't end up having missed the deadline of a grand vision after it's too late, particularly around agile project management, where you're essentially minimizing risk into very short time frames so that you can quickly reassess and change directions if you need to before it's too late. Maybe. I think, do we need more awards, or do we need more attention on the awards that already exist? I'd say maybe the latter.